soon. I'm gonna play the music.
Get it, get it. We are all human. That's true.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This your girl Dizzy from What You Got to Say. Another episode in the making. You know I got my crazy co-host in the building. What's up, Mr. Tyrone Gregory?
Gang, gang, let's get it.
Hey, what's up, Miss Cool Candace? How you doing today?
What's going on, y'all? It's time to chop it up.
Word, word. What's up, Mr. Cabana Black?
Hey, y'all, I'm that dude. Super excited to be that dude today.
And last but especially not least, what's up, Miss Keela Mahogany?
Hey, y'all. Let's get it.
All right, so the topic of discussion today is the art of listening. So we had a conversation one day after one of our other episodes, and we started talking about the art of listening. Do people really listen to receive versus listening to respond? So we decided to have a conversation about that to see how well of a listener do you believe that you are? You know, what do you think your comprehension level is? And then what steps you could take to be better at both. So first question for the room is, do you believe that you are a good listener? Anybody?
When my temper's low, yes. I think I'm a good listener. But I cannot regurgitate what you just said. I'm gonna just tell you that right now. When you like, what did I say? I'm gonna be like, I don't know. But I told you.
Wow. I'm gonna say, so does that make you a good listener?
I am. I listen, I hear it, and then I act upon whatever, the person.
That's part of what you heard.
You sound like a good hearer.
Yeah.
But maybe not a good listener.
I do listen to understand, though. I do listen to understand somebody else's point. Now, if it doesn't agree with mine, I don't know what to tell. I don't know how that conversation is going to go.
Hey, this is what you got to say. This is that raw honesty here. So I'm glad she is being honest.
This is probably my episode because I'm probably not that good at this. If you ask me honest. I'm sure he needs to probably be listening to this and chiming in the comments because he'll probably tell you, hell nah, stop lying and move on to the next person.
Okay.
Well, Dave is probably going to be exactly like Ghost because I know I be listening.
Right.
And look like I be listening, but I don't really remember everything you said. Like, hey, Candace, this is my friend Jasmine. 45 seconds later, what was her name again? Because I don't remember. So I'm bad with names. I'm good with faces. I'm bad with names. But as far as listening is concerned, I do listen. I do my best to listen, to understand, and to comprehend exactly what conversation it is we're talking about or whatever's going on between everyone. But if anything else is going on outside of me, that whole little ADHD kick in and be like, squirrel, huh? What happened?
Okay.
My bad. I love y'all. And then another thing that's really bad with me is, and I don't intend to come off like an ass or rude, but I forget things really quickly. And my memory's terrible. Like I'm taking pills for it and everything, little vitamins to help my memory out. It don't work. But
maybe it did and you don't remember.
Right.
So really, we can be having a conversation, and if as we're discussing something of what you said has triggered something in my brain, I'm like, oh yeah, such, and I blurted out, and everybody was like, she was still talking. My bad. I'm sorry. I don't mean to cut you off, but because the idea popped in my head and it was that quick, and if I don't spit it out, I'm gonna forget it.
Right.
I love y'all. Like, to all my friends who I've ever done that to, which is probably all of y'all. I love you.
Okay. Mr. Tyrone Gregory, do you feel that you were a good listener?
I have a little bit of Keela's traits. I have a little bit of Candace's traits. Yeah. If you're saying something and I really am intently listening, if I have something to say to what you said, I gotta get it out. Not that I'm trying to overtalk you. It's just like, hey, but okay, I heard your point. Can you hear mine to that? Because when you move on, I'm gonna forget my point to this.
And that's the point right there. We gotta hammer on that part.
Okay.
Boom, boom.
Right. I gotta hit the point when the point is there. You know what I'm saying? I have to.
Right. Exactly.
But at the same time,
I feel like you won't lose it.
Effectively. I'm hearing what you're saying. I'm taking it in, because if I didn't take it in, I wouldn't have anything to say.
Okay. Mr. Cabana Black, do you feel like you are a good listener?
I'm working on it. I think that the last year it's been very deliberate for me, because before, I'm very passionate. Lord knows I am. So when I'm passionate about something, it just be overtaking me. I'll be like, so is that what you mean? No, what you trying to say? And I'm not allowing them to finish out their phrase, because at that moment I'm like stuck on maybe one line, like it's just still there. And they're like 30 lines down, and I'm like, yo, you said that you didn't like milk. What you mean by that? You know, like I'm that type of person. So but in the last year, it's been different for me, because I've taught myself that listening builds your weapons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When you listen, people tell you all their story. When you listen, you find out ways to get into something. So the diabolical, mischievous, sneaky side of me is making me listen. I hate to say it, but it is. So now I listen with intention, not to necessarily hurt you, but to make sure, like, oh, okay, you good, okay, we good. But if you're not good, I got you too.
Gotcha.
That's that kind of thing. So I'm working on it, but I'm better now.
Okay. So for myself, I believe I am a good listener. I do believe I'm a good listener. The only reason I feel that I am a good listener is because I've been a supervisor since I was 18 years old. And so being a supervisor, you take so many classes and do so much training on active listening and being a mediator and listening to your employees and all of that stuff. I believe that I'm a good listener in that sense. Mm-hmm. However, I do not exercise those same qualities necessarily in the house. I do very well at home, at work. I do very well in business, but when I come home, I do struggle a bit. I feel that my issue is similar to y'all's. I want to get my point in while I hear you. I'm an impatient listener. I know that our issue is impatience. If you're telling the story too slow,
come on.
I'm kind of like, I want to say the sentence. I want to finish your sentence. I don't have anything to say. I just want to finish your sentence so you can get on to the next one, because now I'm tired of listening. But I will say, after doing some research, there's some tools that I realized that I've started using or been using as a supervisor that I think I'm going to have move over into my personal life to help me be a better listener with my family and with my husband. So, all right. So do you feel that you listen to receive a message, or do you listen to respond? What do you think your go-to is?
Receive.
It depends on who I'm listening to and what we're discussing. Will determine whether or not I'm listening to respond or listening to receive the information that they're giving me. With me, when I do talk, I'm more of a storyteller, and I'm super excited when I'm talking about whatever it is. And so I'm trying to give you like every detail. And my husband's like you. He's the impatient listener. So he's like, Candace, just give me the meat and potatoes. I don't need all that extra stuff. I'm like, no, but that ties in. You got to hear all of it. And he's like,
no, I don't.
Right.
So when I'm listening, I'm wanting the same thing that I give out. So I'm trying to listen for, you know, the coup de grace for everything that's going on with, you know, whatever we were discussing, and, you know, what y'all were wearing and what y'all were doing, and, you know, where y'all were going. It was like, oh man, did you have so much fun? And tell me everything. You know, I'm wanting to be all in for it. And then when, you know, you're just kind of 1, 2, 3, 4A, 4B, and that's it. And I'm like, that's it.
Right.
And at that point, I don't know if I tune you out, or I don't listen all the way, or I don't know what it is that I'm doing in that instance, because it could easily be maybe trying to turn the conversation and start talking about something else that have nothing to do with what we were already discussing. I don't know. So I was probably listening to respond and not actually receive what you said. But if, let's say, we are at work and there's a mission that needs to be accomplished, and, you know, or we're in some type of training, okay, I'm taking notes, I'm, you know, paying attention, figuring out, you know, what y'all are saying. So if, you know, there is a time when they be like, hey, does anybody have any questions? And if I have one, I'm like, yeah. So when you were talking about A, B, and C, you know, about 5 minutes ago, whatever, explain this part. And so at that point, I was listening to receive. But I guess in my personal life or with my friends, whatever, I'm like, tell me everything. I want to know. Yay. And sometimes everybody doesn't give me, I guess, what I'm giving out. And I guess I shouldn't expect other people to treat me the way I treat them. That's another thing I need to work on. But carry on.
Okay. Look. Hold on. We got some people in the comments. Hey, what's up, Sam? Hey, Denise. Hey, Shell. Look, Shell Bell says, I know I don't listen. Let's see, Danielle says you should listen to understand, not listen to respond. Oh, thank you, Denise. Denise said, Dizzy, you've personally taught me to be a better communicator. Thanks, sis. You're welcome. What's up, Michelle? Hey, Rodney. Rodney says, depending on who I listen to determine how politely I am going to tell them where they can go without using that message.
Right.
Okay. So where was I? Oh yeah.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is really bad. And I just remembered this since we're having this conversation. And I want to apologize to anybody that I did this.
What you do?
I used to fall asleep in the middle of people's conversations. Like,
wow.
On the phone?
No, in their face.
Laughing.
No.
I used to signal, come on, can we, I'm asleep. Like I used to tell, I am asleep. Why is this taking so long?
I'm done.
I'm sorry.
I've only done that one time, but I was actually really tired. I
used to do it for years.
Okay. So all right, so let's talk about the the long-winded. Let's talk about a tool to fix the people that you're speaking to who are long-winded or need all of these details. So I had an employee, at my previous position, I had an employee, she loved to talk. She loved to talk. She was a wealth of information. She was the hub of our facility. Love her to death. And I'm gonna call her name out. She's probably not listening, but I'm gonna call her name out. What's up, Crystal? All right, so she talked so much, but she was somebody who processed information externally.
Okay.
And so that's one thing that we have to recognize. We have people who process information internally and people who process it externally. And she she is an external processor. So in the beginning, when I first got there, she would get on my nerves because I'm like Dave. I don't need all of the details. just give me the meat and potatoes. And so a tool that we implemented between the two of us was when I would, and she would do this when I would first come to work. Like she would be at work before me and I was boss lady. So I would walk in the door and she wants to download everything that has occurred from 6 o'clock in the morning to 9 when I walked in the door. For me, I'm an internal processor, and that all coming at me at the same time is too much. It's too much at this. I ain't even got to drink my coffee. I haven't gotten to sit down. I still got my bags in my hand. It was too much. So I had to actually have what I like to term as an intentional conversation with her about this. So I was like, look, I know you want to download me everything that has happened over the past 3 hours. But first thing when I walk in the door, I need you to allow me to get settled. So give me 30, 45 minutes, unless it's an emergency. Give me 30, 45 minutes before you come download. Then there were some days if I was I'd be hella busy and I couldn't receive all that information. So her and my vocal cue was, she would be like, okay, I got some stuff I got to tell you. And she'd be like, do you want the full game or Sports Center? That was our cue to each other. And I'd be like, I need Sports Center this morning, Crystal. I need Sports Center. And she'd be like, all right. And you could see her like in her head doing the cliff notes to exactly what she needed to tell me. So-and-so is out, so-and-so is late. You got a meeting at this time and this. Bet. She was able to process external. She gave me enough that I was willing to receive, and that improved our communication back and forth tremendously. But can you imagine how nerve-wracking it would have been had I not told her, we need to come up with something because you about to drive me bananas with the big downloads every morning. So I think part of being a better listener is letting people know how you receive. Let them know how you receive, and then maybe they'll find ways to package their delivery for you so that they can still get what they need to get to you without, pissing you off.
And the funny thing is, I think this is really good what you said about external and internal, and it gets back to communication. Even though we're talking, we're not communicating. When we get in relationships and friendships, communication, I believe, begins with a lot of people that you work with, co-workers, strangers that you may pass by, that you may engage with. Those are not people of relationship, but there are those type of relationships where you may see that person every now and again, so it becomes a relationship, but it's not there's no communication there. And what I'm getting from this right now is like, we do have an obligation as listeners to share with people our internal and external once we begin to walk in that thing with them. You know what I'm saying? Because now I'm thinking about, because there's one person I usually listen to receive because I want to learn, I want to grow. But there was one person, oh my God, and he would say this, like he would say, you just be listening to respond. I'm like, shut up. No, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But what it was I'll be looking at him like, you're not about to say the word. You always trying to be right. Like, when you got a person that always want to be right, I'm like, no, not this time. So I'm looking for it. I'm looking for a ditch, a cliff, a mountain for you to fall into or fall off so I can get it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, because they're coming at you in a way that you're like, yo, you're not gonna listen to me. Like, those type of people, I listen to respond, but I had to like reel it back. And what you just said about external and internal, it really helped me to say, okay, in my relationships, have I communicated with these individuals how and what type of listener I am? Because then it would help the situation.
Right.
I like that. I like that internal, external. Come on. Woo, yeah.
You're so silly, but it works. I mean, it works and it happens. I actually saw, and this is another part of lines of communication. So you have individuals, and I'm one of those. one of those people. You have individuals who are like natural born fixers. All right. So I'm a natural born fixer. If you call me discussing a situation, my brain automatically goes to fix mode. And sometimes that's not what is wanted. Sometimes you got people who just want to vent about something and don't necessarily want a solution because they need to process it externally. They don't want feedback. They don't want you to tell them, girl, leave that man. They don't want to hear none of that. They just need to process it. And so I saw this meme the other day, and I've heard it before, and I actually did it with another employee of mine. This guy said that him and his wife, when she comes to talk to him about something, before she starts, he asks her, you want me to listen for comfort or solution?
Woo!
He asks that question before she starts because he's a problem solver. So she may just want to vent and get it out. And he every few seconds, he's gonna be like, well, but did you do this? Well, did you say this? Well, all you gotta do is do this and it's over with. And then once they give the solution, they don't want to hear it anymore. I'm one of those people. If I've given you the solution, why are we still talking about this? I don't want to hear it anymore. I've given you the solution. However, when you realize that that person is coming to you they just want comfort, they don't want the answer, they just want comfort, then you change the way that you listen to them.
I have to adopt that one.
You have to what?
I said I have to adopt that one.
That was real good. That last part, comfort or solution, comfort or solution.
I'm about that exactly a couple of weeks ago, and it made so much sense to me because when you think about conversations that you have with your loved ones, when you think about conversations that you're having with your friends, it makes sense for you to lay that out first. So like, okay, we're going to use the Libra scale at this point. Which person are you wanting me to listen as? Do you want me to listen as your friend, as a person who can give you advice or something to help give you a solution for? Or are you to listen to just be a listening ear to comfort you and, kind of help soothe you along? And depending on what the conversation is about will allow you to make that conscious decisions like, okay, this is how I need to listen to you. Because let's say I come home from work, I had a hard day. I had people who weren't listening to me, people who were over talking me, people who were talking down to me like I was a second grader. And, I'm talking to Dave. I'm like, hey, I just need to get all of this out. This happened and this happened and this happened and this happened and this happened over here. And I was mad and I wanted to snap and blah, 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 and just kind of running it off in the mouth. And it's like, okay, do I want him to respond as a supportive husband and say, yeah, that's fucked up, they should have did you like that? Or do I want him to be like, well, Candace, did you do this? And if they did that, then you should have taken that to your supervisor and you should have made sure that, you made a MFR, you got a memorandum for record, and laid out all the steps that happened. He was like, so, kind of which way do you want whoever's listening to respond when you get done talking? And I made that post. I was like, that's why I mentioned it to y'all the other day whenever we had this discussion. I was like, are you listening to respond, or are you to kind of internally process everything that we just discussed?
Right. So Lance said, hey Lance, what's up, dude?
What up?
You have to put information into a perspective that the receiver can understand in order for there to be a complete communication effect. Both have to be engaged into one another with no distractions. And then he said, that's why you have to understand what the purpose of the conversation is in order to find the best route of communicating the information that's being received and given. And then I have Mr. Frank. What's up, Frank Olivier? He said, hi. He says, I can listen, but I'm not sure if I understand right. When you listen, you're not a tree. People must understand that they can get a response depending upon what they are saying. right, there's a time to receive, but when you're not in the right mood, people can be disappointed. So how open are you to discuss, like if someone's coming to talk to you about something, how open are you to just say, not right now?
Yes.
I can't, I don't want to deal with that right now.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. That's
Go ahead, Keela. What, are you open to that? Look, she's thinking about you like, nah, man.
I am never open to talking about me. That's what we're not gonna do.
Okay.
No, I will say that is something.
At least you're honest.
We have to be. We all, we grow from all of this. I learned from y'all. So I will say that, yeah, I can talk about any and everything. But I will avoid the conversation, anything that has to do with me, you know what I mean? We could talk about everything else. I will talk about it, but I'll probably be like, not today. I'll avoid it. So I won't even say it. We just won't even talk about it. You know what I mean? On to the next thing. Until we eventually until it gets to the point where like, okay, like maybe we need to have the conversation, but yeah, I'll definitely shoo that conversation off into the future.
Oh, so maybe I misunderstood. Okay, so as you mean you will avoid it. You talking about me? I thought you were saying when you tell somebody else, like, no, I don't feel like talking right now.
Well, that's what she's saying. When it's about her,
About
it's
her.
like, nah, I don't want to talk about it right now.
Oh yeah, I'll talk about myself, but in general, if someone comes up to me and says they want to talk, but I feel like I'm not in the mood to receive, I definitely say, call me back. I'm tired. I need a rest, because I think once again, you owe the person the truth, because not only then are you wasting your time, you're actually wasting their time.
Agreed.
Sharing their story with you. So it's better for you to say, I just don't feel like listening. I need a break. And if anybody gets sensitive, then that means they're selfish. It's only when I have an emergency with a friend, when I know that they're in distress, I just get myself together and I'll be like, all right, like you got to pull it together and you got to go ahead and listen, because this person needs you right now. But a lot of times people don't need you right now. They just want you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What you think, Greg?
I don't have a problem with telling someone, no, I don't, I don't want to talk right now. But see, I have this issue where it doesn't matter what you say to me. I have to ask you the questions that I need to know to understand what you're saying. Because if I don't understand what you're saying, you're going to talk for a pointless reason. Because once I don't understand you, the rest of the conversation means nothing to me. I have to understand, is this what, okay, you're talking about this. So you're telling me that Heinz ketchup is better than Hunt's ketchup. That's what you mean. That's what
Right.
Because at the end of the day, it's both tomato paste. So we're not talking about tomato paste. We're talking about which one tastes better, right?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, cool. Now I don't want to talk about what tastes better. I'm cool.
Yes.
Got it.
I think that another point to your, do you want comforter solutions? Another thing that people have to consider when they are talking to someone, you have to give them benefit of the doubt. And the first thing, especially if something you have or something you're trying to discuss is a heavy topic or something that's really important to you, you really have to ask them straight up, hey, are you in a place mentally where we can talk?
That's
right.
Because if I have a lot of stuff that I need to download and you got a lot of stuff going on because your kid's over here crying and you're trying to make dinner and you're trying to discuss things with your husband and you're still winding down from work, you're not going to be able to actively listen to what I'm saying, which may in turn make me upset, because it's like, well, I'm trying to talk to you and you're not even listening. Well, I got 6 other things going on at the same time and I want to listen to you, but I also can't deny the fact that my family's right here and these are priorities that I have to take care of right now. So in dealing with, other people or even a family member that you're trying to listen to, is like, hey, can we table this or can I put a pin in it and come back and listen, or we can talk about it later on this evening or first thing tomorrow morning or something, because right now I just got a lot of stuff going on and I can't actively listen to what you're saying and be able to, you know, regurgitate what you need
Right.
and respond to you the way you need a friend to respond at this point. So I think that's a very important key that people have to start incorporating when they are talking to someone, even if it's your significant others. Like, they could have a lot of shit that went on in their day, and when they get home, they was like, look, I love you, but I can't right now.
Right.
I can't with all the outside. Like, at this point, just dump it at the door and we can talk about it later. But right now, I just can't.
Right.
And I really think that that's one thing that a lot of people should not necessarily start incorporating, but at least just be mindful of that aspect, because everybody has something going on.
Well, I think that's another spin-off of having intentional conversations. I think that sometimes humans as a whole, they know what they want, but they are scared to articulate to this person what it is they want for fear of the response. So it's like I had to have that conversation, intentional, with my husband, because at work, supervising 30-something women all day, and I'm not a woman's woman. I'll put it like this. I don't deal well with typical female bullshit. I can't ingest it very easily. So all day I'm having to, as my coworker used to say, I have to put on my blue. I have to put on the emotional piece of me to understand the emotional stuff that's coming in and out of my office. And it is tiring.
It's draining.
It's draining. And so when I come, at first, when we were, in the initial years of us being married, my husband didn't understand that when I come home, just give me 20. I need 15, 20 so that I can decompress. Because if not, everything I say, I'm still going to be in work mode. I'm going to be short. Can you just do this? Can you put this here? Can you do that? Can you do this? Because I'm still in the mode. So we had to have an intentional conversation. I was like, look, there's going to be some days where I come in and I should be like, give me 20. And that just needs to be the end of the conversation till I have come back down, unless you want me to fuss. If you want me to fuss, then come at me right now. But if I say I need 20, then just give me that. And I could, and now he does the same thing. If he comes in and it's been a crazy day, he'd be like, "Oh, I need 20. All right, cool. I make sure the kids are taken care of. Don't go mess with daddy, blah, blah, blah. Come help me do. I try to keep everybody busy so he can have that time to come down, because everyone needs it. I think that right now you have so many folks that want so much from so many people, and they don't realize I've got home, my kids, my parents, my siblings, my job, the other life I'm trying, all of these things that sometimes I just don't have time to sit and listen to to give you the attention that you want, not right then. So I agree with that. So Lance, he had a funny one. Where is it at?
Funny one.
He said, this is exactly, Candace. This is why I don't, wait a minute, that's not it. Let me go back. Proven fact, ladies, if you ever feel you're not getting anywhere in the middle of the conversation, depending on where you're at, if you take your shirt off, he will most likely pay attention. Lance is a whole fool.
Right.
Denise says,
put that back on. We having this conversation. He ain't going for it.
Denise says, exactly, Candace. This is why I don't call Disney as often as she wants. I'll say to myself, oh, it's 6 or 7 p.m. She's probably cooking or doing this or that. Agreed. It's sometimes what people, and that's good to know people's processes, know what their kind of life is doing, so that you're not calling them at their busiest time and then being upset when people don't respond the way you want them to. Frank Olivier says he can definitely say not right now when his wife is trying to talk to him during Paris soccer team game time because he doesn't want to hear it. He said, and curiously, this is always the time my wife decides that she wants to talk. He said, and he put typical female bullshit. I was just scared to write that. So it's something that he realizes that's something that he wants. Sam says it's hard to do that time when we're all home 24/7. Thanks for saying it though. We should do that. Sam, but it can happen within the 24-hour time. I know that we're all under confinement. And again, I feel intentional conversation with the husband or the mate, whoever's in the home with you, intentional conversation. I need just 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes, because them allowing you to have that 5 minutes keeps a whole hell of a lot of misunderstandings down later on, because you could be coming. So I kind of want to go on a little tangent. So I did some, and this isn't circling back to what Sam said. So I did some research about listening. All right. And so with listening, they talked about, all right, so everyone knows you hear sound waves. When people are talking to you, what comes to your ear and what you hear are sound waves. But your listening, listening is what you pay attention to. So it's hearing and it's listening, two different things. Listening is psychological and all of that, which leads to a lot of misunderstanding, because someone can say, I told you put on another shirt. You could have said it that way, but if your wife thinks she fly in this shirt and her yitty's looking good and you tell her go put on another shirt, she like, what you mean? Why you got an attitude? What's wrong with my shirt? Da, da, da. And he might be like, but because you got ketchup right here. That's why I'm telling you know what I'm saying? So they talked about filters of sound. So there are filters that people's words come through anytime they talk to you. And our filters are
now. It's my tone.
right. So the filters of sound are things like your culture, your language, your values, your beliefs, your attitude, your expectation, and your intention. So I'm going to say the filters again: culture, language, values, beliefs, attitude, expectations, and intentions. So, how many times have any of you had a misunderstanding in language because of culture?
I am married to a German. Okay. I know, Dizzy, you might win too. Listen, when I tell you the amount of I even wrote it down. Because Greg, what you were talking about earlier with needing to interrupt in the middle of some stuff, that happens to us probably in every single conversation because of the miscommunication, because of where we're both coming from. Right. And so in the middle of what he's saying, I need to interrupt so that I can tell you that you're wrong about what you just said. Or that something that you just said, because how you're saying it, the words that you're using may not be what you mean.
Right.
Oh my God, yes.
According to this conversation, because of your German filter that you're filtering it through.
Yeah.
And so it's all of that. It is so much friction sometimes, depending on which side we're coming from. And we're both very passionate communicators. And so it's like, bruh. That miscommunication because he's German and everything that he's filtering through, and then I'm American and everything that excuse me, let me correct that.
What you about to say?
I am a Black person who happens to have an American passport.
I knew it was about to happen.
I knew she was about to fix that.
Let me fix that real quick. And so because of those two filters, like there can be a whole lot. We have to over communicate. That this house, we work on communication from the time we wake up until the time we go to sleep, because it's those two cultures in itself.
But
right.
You know what?
funny thing is-
See,
oh, go ahead,
like Keela being married to a German, like, you know, see, I'm married to a woman. And
He said he married to a woman and you're around 3 women. Be careful.
the fact that, you know, she has this Gemini spirit about her, and she can have conversations in her head while having a conversation with her mouth. Sometimes she will say something to the person in her head, but she thinking she said it out her mouth, and then she'll say the end part of the sentence at the beginning of the conversation and say the beginning part of the conversation at the end of it, and then the middle part she said to that other motherfucker right here, and I'm supposed to piece all that together.
That's talented.
And then
we're all able to do that.
And see, and then in turn, I get told that I'm being difficult because I'm like, hold on. So did you mean that we finished, which you said at the beginning, is actually the end, and then so you meant to say this? And did you know that the way you said this word, that word actually means to kick a dog? That does not mean to hand you the cup. That doesn't mean that. That don't mean that.
Greg, yes.
You know, but I fall victim to this, and I be trying to let her understand, like, hey, babe, listen, I do not mean to interrupt you, but feces, that is shit. Feces is not the beginning statement to a conversation or a that's a thesis, not feces.
Oh gosh.
I'm saying what just happened?
Wrong. I'm not saying she would use that word that wrong. I'm just saying, like, she would say
Right.
a word that means something totally the fuck different. And I'm sitting here like, so you wrote a shit statement, or you wrote a thesis statement? Not a feces, thesis.
Right.
And
I actually love that you said that. So I watched my parents navigate that. My mother is famous for starting a sentence somewhere in the middle and didn't call anybody's name. There's 5 people in the room, and she will just randomly start talking and finish a sentence. And so it's funny in a room with me, my brother, my dad, everybody's like,
who's she talking to?
Who's she talking to? Somebody about to be in trouble because we weren't listening. And so I watched my dad. My dad has mastered it. So she'll say something, finish whatever. He'd be like, can I get the rest of that sentence? I need the rest of it. And she'd be like, well, what did I say? And he's like, oh, he's like, I heard something and put it in the laundry room. But the subject, I don't know what you want me to put in the laundry room. And you're right. I do feel that sometimes so much is going on. We swear we said it out loud. Yeah. And we didn't.
Like, I said that to myself. I didn't say that to you. People like, no, I didn't hear nothing.
Right.
Wait a minute, but let me ask you this. Let me say this. There is another thing that I think is really deep for me as a musician, and you hit an area, and at first I was gonna say something about it, but then I was listening to everybody, and you talk about the different filters and stuff. Like with Candace. Candace has an amazing tone to her voice. Words are words. That's why I'm a musician, because the reason why I wanted to be a musician, because it's the one thing that people will listen to collectively and most times get it. And it's because it comes through a filter of tone and sound. Mm-hmm. And another thing that people don't realize is talk shows like ours and different people that we listen to, the reason why we listen to them, because it's stimulating to our ear. There's some people that when you hear them, they annoy you off jump. It's just something about their voice. It's something about their presentation. It's something that they're saying. You like, if you don't shut your, but it's like, that's the feeling. And so when you hear someone that brings a stimulant to your ears, you're actually willing to hear. And that's why I always say with music is like the greatest speaker, because most times it goes through a musical filter, but it's just words. It's just people talking. It's just people communicating. And then earlier, when Jesse was talking, the one thing I did want to say is like, we don't want to be intentional. In marriage and in relationships, I think you have to be intentional. But in general, when I know that I'm a descriptive person, I love to talk. I love to share. But the majority of times, like unfortunately, I've had to cut off how I do things because people just don't want that. They kind of just want their narrative to be their narrative. And so it's almost like a get in when you fit in, but we ain't trying to fit in no more if you don't want to get in and listen. So that's the kind of thing that I've noticed, that a lot of time people are selective in when they want to really hear you, unless it's really a relationship, something that's really involved, because then you have to, because either you're choosing to be with this person, sleep in the bed every single day, or you're not having to be married, you're just there with this person every day. So you have to figure out some kind of communication. But I do think the tone of our voices, and like you said, the culture and all those things you were saying was really deep.
Right.
I totally get that.
Yeah, and so I thought it was funny that Candace would say people say, oh, well, it's your tone. So let's not to bring race into it, but I'm going to bring cultures and race into it. There are often times where we are in professional situations, and because we are able to articulate ourselves in a particular way, and we have a particular tone to our voice, like I don't have a high-pitched girly voice. I don't have it. It doesn't exist within this body. So the high, I just wanted to know. That's no. I'm never.
I don't even to nobody who sounds like
right.
that.
I cannot. I will not communicate that way. I'm born with a lower voice. I have a lower register, and so sometimes when I say certain things, and then you hear the kickback, well, she was rude, or
she sounded abrasive.
Right, she was abrasive. And this has been my go-to in the professional world, and it works. It works. Ma'am, you are upset, which I understand, but you are upset because I have said something you don't like. Just because you don't like it does not make my demeanor nor my tone rude. You don't have to like everything I say, but you not liking it does not mean I was rude. And I said, what was this not the same tone that I spoke to you in over the phone? Well, yeah, because, okay, you didn't like the policy that I stated. Had nothing to do with my tone, and that's
Come on, you better be that bottom darling, that bottom voice.
I'm not playing with you. I'm not gonna play with you, because you gonna know, trust and believe, you will know when I'm rude. Yeah. There's no question when I'm rude. But when you don't like something that someone is saying to you, it seems like the catchphrase is, oh, well, they were rude. They were disrespectful. No, I told you something you did not want to hear. So next time, don't ask me.
People say, you ask a question you don't want to answer to, expect an answer you didn't want to hear.
Right.
And it's simple as that. I can't sugarcoat it for you. And I'm sorry if my demeanor comes off as abrasive, but I'm going to give it to you straight.
Straight.
No apologizing for nothing.
No chaser. So.
No lube. Come on here.
So whether you can take a tequila shot straight, minus the lemon and the salt, or you need something to drink behind it, that's on you. But you can never say, I wasn't straight up with you. You can never say, I didn't tell you exactly what it was. I've noticed that when my husband has conversations with people, sometimes they'll hit him up and ask for, advice on different information, be it whatever it is, stuff going on in the military, stuff with your VA, how to deal with family members, just whatever it is, something random. And I've noticed there are different types of people who are actually listening and coming to him for information.
Right.
I've learned that the people who contact him who want to be pacified, don't call him as often. Yeah. Because you're not going to get that from him.
Because they're looking for comfort.
You're not going to get that from him. Mm-hmm. He's going to tell you exactly what it is, straight up, black and white. There is no gray area. Mm-hmm. Right, wrong, you fucked up, you should have did this, and this is how you fix it.
Come
So
on.
there are some people who will come in with, okay, Dave, I got my notebook. I'm ready. What you got for me? And they're willing to listen and put into action the information that they have received. And you have some people who are, oh yeah, I knew that. Oh man, I already did that. Yeah, I know that. I knew that too. Well, what you call me for if you knew everything? Why? So you wasting my time and I'm wasting yours.
Right.
Why am I talking in a circle over stuff that you already knew everything about? What'd you call me for? You just wanted to hear my voice?
Right.
You can say, hey.
Right.
Like, and I've heard Dave say this before. He was like, I never learned anything by talking.
Right. There's
You
power in silence.
Right. There's
Yeah.
power in silence. So you have to sit there and listen and absorb the information that is being given to you. So whether you're trying to have an active conversation and, we're, bouncing ideas off of each other, that's one thing. But if you are just running off at the mouth and spilling everything of whatever happened and saying everything that you think is completely right, and you've never listened or done any research to figure out anything different, what are you going to learn?
Right.
How do you plan to change the situation that you are in? Or how do you plan to progress from where you are if you're completely comfortable with where you are?
Right.
Call me asking for advice on how to do something different if you're not going to put in the work to make it happen.
Right.
You're wasting my time and I'm wasting yours. I can use that energy for something else.
True. So I have 5 ways that I found 5 ways to be a better listener. And then there's another set of 5 exercises to do to improve your listening skills. Right? So 5 ways to be a better listener. So let's put the number 5 up. And for each one that you know that you do, take a finger. If you know you already do it, take the finger down. I hate you.
All right, do it. Okay, here we go.
Right.
5 what now?
5 ways to be a better listener. 1, maintain eye contact to show that you are interested.
Hold on. When you do it, put it down.
If there's something that you already do, then so we can see what we have to work on.
We know you don't because you fall asleep.
Right. So maintaining eye contact basically just shows the person who's talking to you that you are interested in what they have to say. All right. Number 2.
Who's not playing on your phone.
Right. So number 2, which this was one of the tools I was saying I saw that helped me a lot at work, but I need to start doing it at home maybe. Make notes. It makes the other person feel important. It shows respect and that you value what they say.
Well, I don't do no notes.
At work, I do. At home, I typically do not. But yeah,
I don't.
3,
Y'all know.
Oh, this is personal and professional life?
It could be either or. 3.
I'll take notes. I take notes professionally.
I would take notes. Yeah.
For business, you do. Okay. And I have found that in a professional setting, even a personal setting, if you are having a conversation with someone and you start to take notes, the other person becomes more intentional of what they're saying because they realize that you will have a record of their thoughts. They choose their words more carefully. It's more thought out than just rambling off at the mouth.
That's so funny because I'll be like, why are you taking notes? Don't be writing down my business. What you trying to
see? Here you go.
Like Keela, I know you be like that too. You be like, what you writing notes for?
Right. Let others complete their own sentences, no matter how enthusiastically you want to jump in.
Ooh.
Don't none of us need to put our finger down because we can go back to several shows. Don't none of us do that.
Look, my finger got stuck to my head. Ooh.
Right. Provide meaningful responses when people are speaking to you. The the yep, oh, okay, all right, cool, oh, okay, that's those type of things. And then,
is that number 4?
That's number 4. And then ask core questions. So don't ask questions that are just yes, no responses. Ask questions to invoke more conversation, more thought, so on and so forth, to continue on the conversation. So those are 5 ways to be a better listener. Maintain eye contact, make notes, let others complete their own sentences, provide meaningful response. What happened? Who is saying something funny?
I went to pull down because I had my one left. And when I went to put my one left, this is what was left.
See there, see? Okay, so I'm gonna go back and read some comments because we got some comments here. So Lance says it's unfortunate in today's generation, they are being raised to be so sensitive to information and getting very defensive over people being straight up with them, regardless of the answer they receive. That's because it's not what they want to hear. Denise says, as a professional in the IT field, a male-dominated profession, and in the military, I have seen a difference where a man can say something and it is okay, and I can say the same thing or nicer, and I'm still being mean or being misunderstood. Lance responds to Denise and says, I see that too, being a part of the military. There's so many stereotypes in the military. However, we do have to be careful due to EEO and sharp complaints. Just FYI, when I was talking about my mama jumped in the comments, was like, who does that? I'm like, so you do that, Miss Judy. So my mom also has, when I was still working and someone would come to me, I would ask them, do you want me to tell you the truth, or do you tell me what you want to hear? And that cuts down on a lot of BS people. I have a feeling that Long didn't put any of his 5 fingers down in conversation. I'm assuming that's what he's answering. But I don't believe that's true, because Long, you give hella eye contact when you're talking. That's that authority in you. You do a lot of eye contact. And Lance decided to say this convo is being recorded for quality and insurance purposes. Anytime my wife wants to talk, I need to remind her of this just in case I end up in a ditch somewhere for not listening. And Frank Olivier said, Candace, when you say things straight up, that makes you a precious friend. That makes you a really good friend if that's what you're doing.
Thank you.
All right. You know what, though? Another thing that's interesting about all this is that a lot of times what we do in our professional life, I don't know why we separate professional from personal. Because when I was answering the question of how I use those skills professionally, why wouldn't I use them personally? And I think in my mind right now, thinking about it, is because we allow comfortability to come in with those that we love. A lot of times we mistreat the people that are more caregiving about us and treat them more as secondhand citizens. Then we go to the places that we work at and give them that type of respect because either they're financially paying us or giving us some kind of upward mobility, whereas the other person, they're giving something that's more internal, you know, love and care and concern. But I thought about it because I was like, sometimes, you know, the things that we do professionally, we should be doing it personally. And you even said it, Dizzy. That's why it brought up you like some of the things that I do there. I should be doing it at home, but I think we do make it church and state, like we separate it. And some things don't have to be separated. And I think that would be better too, as well. Just thinking about out loud.
Right.
A different perspective on that is that at work, I have to, you know, there's risk of losing something as far as financial stability with your life. When you're dealing with someone in your personal life, then this is supposed to be a real situation. What I'm doing at work is fake. You know, if I'm working for a corporation or I'm working for somebody else that isn't, you know, and I'm there for a check, then I'm like, you're getting all of my fake shit. I'm not about to be real.
Code switching.
Yes. You know, I can't trust you. You know what I mean? I'm not putting anything more into this and of myself than anything. But the people in your personal life, that is a private, personal conversation or, you know, situation. And you want to be able to be real with them. And that includes when you're not happy. And so sometimes those conversations, you have to, you have to communicate a different way in your personal life because they don't care whether or not I'm happy. They just want to know at work. They just want to make sure that I can complete a job. I also don't care if they are happy. I just need them to make sure that they complete their job, you know, but in our personal lives with our spouses and stuff, this is a mutual situation where we both need to be happy. And sometimes I need to say things that I would not say at work. So I can't do all of the type of communicating that I do at work, at home. I think, but because I'm not taking notes, I'm not doing it.
Right. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine.
Is it could? Oh, sorry.
No, I wanted to ask you something about that. So you said, when I do this at work, I am at the risk of losing something. And that sentence like stuck with me because in your personal life, if you don't have good communication skills with friends, family, your spouse, you're at risk of losing them too. And I'm not saying you got to sit down and take notes every time Sebastian says something. That's not what I'm saying. But the other things like maintaining eye contact, showing that you're interested in what they're saying, and vice versa. I'm not saying you got to do notes. Let them finish their sentences, provide meaningful response. All of those things are effective tools of communication, regardless of who you're dealing with. So, and I guess my mentality is, when you listen to some people to say, why are you divorced? Why are you no longer with your wife and or husband? A lot of people will say, she doesn't listen to me. My husband doesn't listen to me. My wife doesn't listen to me. And it could be very well because the same, I don't know, level of respect or tools that are good for communication regardless, we may not be utilizing them with the ones we love the most. It doesn't mean you can't be real, but like if he's talking about something really passionate and we keep interrupting because what we feel is more important, or I don't care about this topic, I want to talk about this topic, then we don't get to be mad when he goes and finds Jenny Bump Bump to listen to the dumb shit we don't want to listen to. I know I just made up a name.
No, I love Jenny Bump Bump.
We don't get to be upset because he tried. I'm trying to talk to you about this dumb situation and you won't listen. And the more we shut them down when they're trying to talk to us, they got to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? So I think that you're at risk, not you, but I think people are at risk of losing that person as well if you don't open those lines of communication with them. You know what I'm saying?
Can I clarify?
Yeah.
Yeah, clarify. Look at
Hey, that tone changed, didn't it? That tone got light to the mouth.
No, I'm coming with the same energy.
Did you look at what Frank and Lance said? I think that was really good too.
Okay, go ahead, Keela.
Okay. So I don't look in the eyes, because for me to have better understanding, I need to see the words coming out of your mouth. That is just how, like what I need for better, to be a better listener, so that I can listen to comprehend. Because if I'm looking, I have found that when I'm looking somebody in the eyes, I sometimes, I don't hear what they're saying. Like it doesn't stick. And so I would not be looking at somebody in their eyes the whole time anyways. I might be, fluctuate or like, moving from one to one. But also, like, yes, I am a good communicator, and I think that is the level that I come in at. And then all of my passion comes, above that. I will listen. I respect everybody's opinion. You know what I'm saying? We can have a conversation. I love going back and forth. But there is just something, I think when it comes to personal and private, professional and personal, I just have that face that I have to put on professionally is going to be more flexible in what I give and what I don't give, and how quiet I am, and there's some things that I won't say that may need to be said in a professional setting, but I still won't say it depending on what there is to lose. And I'm not saying that I can't lose my husband, but I can't lose my husband. You know what I mean? That's like, I feel like him and I have made a relationship that I can't say something to him that is going to jeopardize what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? The life that we live. And so maybe that's where I'm coming from, is that we've already built a foundation to where even if I talk over him sometimes, because I try not to do it. I did used to do it bad in the beginning. Because you just, like, my opinion is maybe more important, or you don't know what you're talking about, was my old way of thinking.
She's like, wait a minute.
You know what I mean? But through working with him and I, with the German American thing, it's like he has made my communication better.
Right.
I definitely have to credit him for that, but it's not always gonna be in a professional way. Like I'm not gonna do that. You're gonna get me, my passion, my emotion, and I may not say everything correct, but we can work through that and we can, talk it out until it's right.
Okay, I got you.
Using that, the note-taking thing you said earlier, Lizzie, like professionally and personally, like at work, I'm retired now, thank God. I would listen actually to respond because my job is to make this happen. So I'm listening, I'm taking notes so I can make sure I respond accordingly because response isn't always verbal.
Right.
But at the same time, like when it's personal, like especially for me, like when it comes to my wife, I'm not about to write down notes because I'm actually very intently listening on purpose. Whereas
Okay.
at work professionally, I'm hearing what you're saying, but I'm really looking at the end result of how to get the job done. Take that bullshit out. Don't need to hear that. Wrote this down. Need that. Boom.
Right.
Job done. He's still talking. What the fuck is briefing for?
Right. Right.
But then when it comes to my wife, I mean, I'm gonna listen to you blue in the face, but I'm listening because I actually want to make sure that I'm catching what you're saying. So to me, you have to separate that professional from the personal.
I feel you.
But you know,
Okay. Let me get these comments. Look, Cabana told me go in here and get these comments. Hold on.
Yeah, because there are certain things that just came and I was like, yo.
Oh,
yeah.
Y'all gonna stay off me in the comments.
All right. Yeah, they was getting you earlier because they thought Shell was gonna come bust you in the head. Okay. So Lance said you can carry some of the same principles over from professional and I think he's talking professional and personal, especially effective communication. Denise says, say that, Cabana. We communicate differently at work than at home. I did this and my ex-husband did this to me. Looking back, I wish I was a better communicator earlier in our marriage. That motherfucker's still crazy though. Lance said, you got to be careful with that, Keela, because habits at work can carry over into your personal life and vice versa. Dang it, where's Frank? Okay, so Frank says separate personal from professional. Cabana, you're an artist. You have to bring your personality in your art. It's not a good thing to bring emotion and sensitivity into this cold world. Hold up. Wait a minute, I just missed something. Somebody did something. Okay, Lance said not everybody can do that, make that switch back and forth between professional and personal. Eric says, I've had to become better and more effective at my communication and listening here at home more than ever now that I'm a full-time single dad. I've had to soften up and balance in my response. This topic is on point. Thank you, Long. That means a whole lot to me. Frank Olivier says, I watched yesterday Malcolm and Marie on Netflix. We could talk about how each character listens to respond. It's like boxing. So I've heard a lot of people on Facebook talk about this show, Malcolm and Marie. I have not seen it. I think maybe us as a group need to just watch it and then see if that's something we want to discuss, because I heard that there is a very toxic relationship going on. And so maybe that's something we might want to discuss. My boy Maurice, he said he has to take notes. His memory is terrible. So he has to take notes. I do have one question. How many of you actually practice active listening? The process of active listening. So for those people out there listening who are maybe not sure what active listening is, it is basically two people are having a conversation. Person A says, I feel like blah, 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 blah. And you're the listener. And so before you respond to what they're saying, you are asked in your own words to pretty much regurgitate what the person said to you or what you heard. So all 5 of us practice active listening. All of us do? Okay. I have, again, I got to go back to my supervisory days. I, for some reason, in the back of my head, thought that everybody listened like that. Until this last job that I had, I would be sitting in a room with 2 grown ass people, with a communication issue between the two of them. And I tell subject A, hey, tell me what happened in this situation. And they would give me the rundown of what happened. And I say, okay, B, tell me what you heard, because I'm taking notes of what this person has said. Can you tell me what you heard? And that shit is totally wrong. And I feel that I'm like, yo, your filter, the filters that we discussed earlier, your filter is so fucked up. You are so angry with this person that you no longer comprehend the English language. You heard absolutely nothing that this person said. You heard with your attitude. Mm-hmm. She said she don't like me, and she said, what conversation were you listening to?
Said it.
What you say, Keela?
I said she said it for sure.
Right. And what's crazy for me is that people really believe in that truth. Yeah. And one of the things that I have found that is a very good tool when you're dealing with people that are like that is understand that there's people, number A, letter A person has their truth, and they are speaking the truth that they know is their truth. Person B has their truth, and they are speaking what they feel is their truth. I think that as a mediator, because I did have to go to mediation class, as a mediator, you have to find what really happened. And usually it is a combination of these two truths. So someone say, well, all I did, I walked in the room, and all I asked her to do was take ABC off the table. I asked her to take blah, blah, blah off the table. Okay. First of all, how did you walk in the room? How did you ask? Did you use that tone? Because the tone can make something as simple as get that book off the table or take that book off the table can be, all right, let me go ahead and get the book and move it, or I'm gonna flip this motherfucking table and come at you, because of the way you said it to me. And so I just think people have to be very present when they are listening to someone's truth, even if it's a lie. You have to be present in what they are saying. Like, I hear you, but that don't mean you got a you don't have to know in the back of your head you are fully lying, but this is your truth. Okay, go ahead, Greg.
I'm just asking. Okay, so being married to a woman, a female of nature in this world,
of nature in this world,
I don't think that is actually built in sometimes. To say that,
Greg, like he tiptoeing, he trying not to.
I gotta understand these eggshells. And
no. Ain't no eggshells. I'm trying to understand some shit before I speak fully.
Okay.
All right.
So you mean to tell me that there are people in the world that you can say a sentence to and they actually hear something totally fuck different?
Yes.
Okay. Once again, okay, one woman or female specimen, their hand.
Okay, practice. I didn't
getting somewhere. So, like, I don't get the fact that if you only hear the way you hear, and you didn't hear the English language and the words that I use from the dictionary. If you know that you heard something totally different, why don't you just say, this is what I heard? I shouldn't have to ask you what you heard if I said what I said.
But you can't assume that somebody understands the words that you say.
I'm glad you said that word, assume.
Yeah.
So that's the thing.
Or what you're saying.
That's the thing. Assumptions from the listener are, they can't be fact. You can't let your assumptions be fact.
No, I'm saying that you can't assume that just because you just said something, that then I understand what you said.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Exactly the way you said it.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Why is it that if we know this as people, you're not going to hear exactly the way a person means something? why don't you just get clarification?
You can.
You can, but most times, like I said, people hear what they want to hear.
And then they take run with it.
Have the ability to be open. Because when you're actively listening, that means to me that you are deliberately opening yourself to hear something that you don't want to hear. An active listener is not someone that listens to be comforted. They're listening to a situation to actually learn something, grow for something, and even be chastised by something, and they're able to process it. You know, if I'm going to listen to, say, if I get in a fight with someone and we decide that we're going to have a discussion, I am going to actively listen, knowing full well that I'm probably not going to agree with maybe some or the majority of what they're being saying, but I'm listening in order to see if we can come together to figure out a way to fix it. But when you hear what you want to hear, like she talked about the employees at work, if the employee already felt like old girl didn't like her in the first place, then that's really all that's in her head in the first place. Well, she don't like me anyway. And I know even though she said, move the table, it was like, bitch, move the table. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that is what's being put in people's head.
That's the sound through the filter.
The filter. That filter is being created. And please, I was holding on because I was listening really well. I wanted to say this. The reason why I wanted you to read what Frank Olivia said, and is because it made me have another aha. I am an artist. So my personality is not like of a normal 9-to-5 worker. So I can get where Keela's coming from when you go to the job. But then even with my other job as a preschool teacher, I work with kids. So I still was able to be this, you know? So that's another thing, you know, I've always put myself in things where I was allowed to still be me instead of being something else. But I also say this, in being actively listening with this group, my filter is I'm single. So a lot of times the confusion that may happen in this group is that my filter comes from being single, right, and everybody in this group is married. So when I be listening, I'm like, well, I understand, I'm listening, but of course I can relate to it. But you know, Cabana life does matter, and marriage is going to happen this year somehow. I'm going to get a boo thing. It's going to be, right, I'm going to be a part of the group. Right. But it was good because I had this like aha, like, that is one of my filters. And everybody that's watching, like maybe you should write a list of what your personal filters are. Because even though she said culture and all these things, I was like, yo, one of my filters is I'm single. So therefore I listen with a single mentality. So right, instead of me saying I'm doing this with my husband or my boyfriend, I'm doing it just with friends and people. Mm-hmm. And then in y'all case, it's like, okay, this is their filter, this is their surroundings. And I think that's how, once again, wars get started, is because it's something very powerful, Dizzy, today, that, you know, there's filters, and then even with was it comfort or? Oh, comfort or solution. Comfort or solution, or right, what Candace was saying about, you know, having that conversation and getting people in check to understand of not wasting people's time and being transparent and being honest. Like all of these little things, I think really help us. And that's why I love having these conversations. I will say this, Greg. So here's one thing, that's one step towards fixing. Your wife was in the comments and she said, what? We both know that we both know I hear what I want, and I'm working on that. So here's the deal. You have to, if you know that's how Shell listens, I'm just gonna say lack thereof. You think that when I say ABC, that Shell hears DEF. You know this. Shell knows this. Sometimes you have to ask her to repeat. Say that one more time. Or if you said something and she's like, what you mean? Da, 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 da. Instead of giving that feedback the way she gave it to you, hold on. What did you hear me say? Sometimes you have to ask that intentional question. And I can almost guarantee Keela and Sebastian do that. I have to do that with my husband. But again, we're talking about a cultural filter where he may say something and I feel myself getting pissed. And I'm like, hold on, say what you said one more time.
And then don't be afraid to say, I don't understand what you're trying to tell me. I don't understand. Say it a different way, because I don't understand.
You know, you can ask this in the Shell respond in the comments. Now, we do that. I have to ask her constantly. Hey, you know, but I'm bringing these things up as things that we had to work on back in the past. And somebody, Son and I, I'm saying what y'all want to say. Some of y'all want to say, and y'all can't. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna say it.
Gotcha. So we're gonna do a roundabout about listening. Yes, ma'am.
Wait, before you do a roundabout. So you kept talking about culture and your tone and how you respond to, I guess, whenever someone has said something to you. I think in my case, it's how it comes out. And I don't hear how I've said it until someone repeats it to me. So in my head, I'm just like, hey, go wash the dishes. That's how I said it in my head. But it was received as, go wash the dishes. In my head, I didn't say it like that. But that's how it may have been received, or that's how, you know, just that random question or that random statement was received. Right. So I guess that's something that I have to work on, as far as how to, I don't know how to put it.
You have to use intentional wording based on who you're talking to. So if you know that when you say, go wash the dishes, if it comes like hell to that person, like, go wash the dishes, right? And that's not the way you meant it. If you know this person is sensitive about washing the dishes, you might have to add some more pretty words. Hey, can you wash the dishes for me, please? Thank you. And keep it moving. Can you wash it for me, please? Thank you. Just add words, pretty words. Sometimes it works.
That's that professional fakeness. You know what I'm saying?
Because one I've always been, well, not I've always been told, but just one particular person who says this to me, and they're like, it's not always what you say, it's how you say it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that, you know, when I was kind of, like Dizzy said, her supervisor hat. So when I'm delegating, telling people, hey, go do this, and this, make sure you get this done, blah, blah, whatever else, I'm just saying it. But I'm not mentally thinking that, okay, this is coming off abrasive and I'm angry and I'm argumentative and you know, I'm coming off this stern person. I'm just like, hey, y'all know we got XYZ coming up. Let's go get this done. Let's go get this done. And moving. And then we got time to do whatever else we want to do. But in my head, how I'm saying it is exactly how I just said it to y'all, but it's received as, why you ain't do this? Go do this. Why you ain't go do that? Why you ain't go do that? And I'm like, I didn't say it like that. And they're like, you can't tell me how I listen to what you said.
Yeah.
What?
So
hold on, Dizzy. Can I say this? It's that filter that you already have where, because you said something, we need to do this. And so why don't we do the things that we have to do to prepare for this? So you are already on your timeline feeling like you button up against whatever we got to do. Why aren't these dishes done? That is how you're saying it. That is how you feel on the inside. Because why did I walk past these dishes 3 times and they're still not done? And so there is that, I think when people get to their end point of asking somebody something, then that's when it turns into I'm telling you something and they hear it that way. So I think it's true that they're hearing it correctly. However, if they would have done what they were supposed to do before, you wouldn't have even had to say anything to have that tone with them in the first place. That's how I feel like that goes. Even at work where you're like, why do I have to remind you of things that you already know that you have to do? And so when you're saying it to them, it's no longer at the beginning of the process when you're delegating. Now we're at the end coming up on these timelines. Now I have to tell you. You know what I mean? Obviously, me asking you in the beginning didn't work. Now I have to tell you what to do. And unfortunately, that is always going to happen when people don't adhere to deadlines and, you know, the schedule that you want to keep.
Right.
And Keela, that is parenting.
Woo! I will say this, and you're talking from a supervisory delegating point of view. This is one thing that I have found. You must know your team. You've got to know your team. So, and how to ask 50 people to do the same thing, and you may have to ask it 50 different ways for them to receive. So I had some employees where if I said, hey, I need you to get this document to me by 5 o'clock on Tuesday. All right, got you. They about business. That's what they there for. They know they got to do a job. I never have to go back and check up on them because those individuals are about their business and probably going to give me that document on Monday. You have other employees where you have to make it like it's their idea to get it to you on Tuesday. You see what I'm saying? You're asking for the same thing, same document, same job, but you almost have to finesse it for them to get it to you on time. You got other people that you can give them a delegation, but you have to constantly be on them every single day because they don't have the time management skills. And so the problem comes when if you're standing in front of a group and you're delegating to that group all in the same tone. It doesn't work. One person gets it, it may not be offended, 49 others are offended by some way, shape, form, or fashion. So it's about knowing your team and finessing how you ask people to do stuff. I can ask my son, even in the house, I can ask my son to do certain things, ain't got to worry about it. There's certain things I got to go after him about. There's some I have to ask my husband to do certain things a certain way. My daughter, I got to be forceful. Go do what I say. I have to. There's no nicety. It ain't going to get done. You know, so it's about knowing your people and knowing how to respond. So roundabout, because I got to get off because I got another interview right after this show. So roundabout on listening. Go Cabana.
And I'm done. Now listen to that.
Attitude.
Great to everybody, though, for real. I am done. That was good. All right, great.
Bet, Miss Keela Mahogany.
I'm working on it.
I'm glad you are. I believe you, boo. I'm glad. Miss Cool Candace.
You gave me a lot to think on. You gave me a lot to work on. So the wheels are turning.
Okay.
I'm definitely absorbing everything that we discussed. I listened to everything we discussed, and I have to internalize and process so that I can be beautiful for the masses.
Oh, come on here.
Oh, and in some states the pandemic's getting better. In others it's maintaining steady, and in some it's getting worse again. Y'all still be safe. I know Super Bowl, people got Super Bowl parties they're going to. Y'all trying to go hang out at bars and
We ain't going to party.
Damn no.
Stay safe. Still wear your mask. Brush your teeth before you put it on so you don't kill other people. Because I shouldn't smell your breath through your mask. That's
Wash
bad.
your ass.
Yeah, that's bad. Pandemic, wash your hands. Don't forget to wash your ass. And keep going.
All right, Mr. Tyrone Gregory.
I just want to say, in lieu of everything we talked about, the one thing we didn't talk about was the RBF of the listener. We don't know what RBF is.
Discussion, mind your business.
Yeah, see, right there. Look at her.
We're not talking.
But we didn't talk about that. Just be mindful. Your facial expression can make a person speaking to you not want to talk anymore either.
Woo! Make you want to see it?
Your wife said she love you, Gregory.
Sometimes that's the plan.
You know I love her too. I'm not speaking.
Sometimes that's the plan.
Exactly.
But yeah, just make sure y'all understand that with y'all communication too. The facial expression can determine the attitude and longitude of the conversation.
This is my face.
I know.
Love it or leave it.
No.
Bang, 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 bang.
Positivity and love, y'all.
No doubt. All right, so on the way out, I'm gonna give you 5 real quick exercises to improve your listening. These are not my 5. These are by Julian Treasure. Please find him on YouTube. He does several TED Talks on listening and being a better speaker. 5 exercises to improve your listening. 1, silence. 3 minutes a day of silence. That will reset and recalibrate and allow yourself to hear silence again. 2, it's called the mixer. In a noisy environment, listen and try to figure out how many separate channels of sound you can hear in a noisy environment. It helps you zone and listen in on certain things and strengthens your ability to filter out background noise when you're trying to communicate in noisy situations. 3, savoring. Learn how to enjoy mundane sounds like your coffee machine, your washing machine, the rhythm of the dryer. Learn to be able to enjoy and focus on those sounds. It's called a hidden choir, and it allows you to not be as distracted from random noises when you're able to enjoy those types of noises. 4, listening positions. You can move your listening to position to appropriate to what you are listening to. So you listen to music one way, you listen to instructors another way, you listen to your friends another way, you listen to your family another way. Be mindful of the different ways that you're listening, just like we were talking about professional and personal. And then the last part is called RASA. It's an acronym, RASA. So RASA stands for receive, pay attention to the person, appreciate, make little noises like okay, while someone's talking to you. S, learn to summarize so that they understand that you understood what they said to you. And last but not least, ask questions afterwards. Again, that's information that's been given to us by Mr. Julian Treasure. He is really successful on TED Talk. I highly suggest that you guys go listen to him and his points about listening. This is your girl, Dizzy. Thank you so much for tuning in again to What You Got to Say. If you didn't get a chance to listen to our whole show today, please check us out on all your favorite podcast platforms. Like, follow, subscribe, YouTube, IG, Facebook. We out.
Bye.